Everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here, taking a look at the feature race at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. It is the Grade 3 Bayakoa. This one, race 9 on that Saturday card, going the mile and the 16th distance on the main track for the fillies and mares on that road to the Grade 1 Apple Blossom this spring. Mike, a field of 6 runners signed on for this one, and does feel like the public is likely to go in the direction of the number 6 Loved, who's coming off a pretty nice graded stakes victory in the Fall City to end her 5-year-old campaign. Don't know that you're going to get the 9 to 5 morning line on this horse, but she definitely feels like the horse to beat.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I guess we'll see how they wind up betting it. She's 9 to 5 on the line. I feel like she's a little bit of a standout here, David.
Yeah, if she repeats the last effort, she is going to be awfully tough for this field to handle. To get a sense of what sort of trip Loved might have coming to her in this race, let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. And there really is not a ton of speed signed on here, Mike. The number 2 Wild About Hillary, really her only chance is to go to the front end and try to slow down the pace. At one point in Love's career, she would have been part of this pace, maybe even in front of Wild About Hillary, but seems like she's really changed her style as she's matured. And oddly, even as they added the blinkers, it got her to rate even further off the pace in her last couple of starts. So I would imagine they're not going to change tactics here. I don't know if it really matters for her, though.
I don't either. I mean, I'll just take the pace projector as a good sign for her, David, because as you pointed out, I mean, there was a time when she was a speed horse, but as she's matured, Brendan Walsh has gotten her to learn to rate a little bit. But if this pace is slow, even from the outside post in a short field, she's going to be right up close stock in this pace.
Let's go through these 6 runners, beginning with the number 1 Corningstone. And you really can't fault her form, Mike. I mean, she is just rock solid. She shows up every time, whether it's good enough to win or not. You know she's going to be in the mix. She just loves to hit the board in stakes company. And we're taking a look at her most recent start in the Pippin, the local prep for this, where she fended off Tax to probably is not as tough a rival as she might have been during her 3-year-old season, but Corningstone still turns that foe away, holds off the challenge of a closer through the stretch. She's really versatile with regard to running style, so if this pace does slow down, she can be used a little bit early. I do feel like her ceiling's a little lower than that of her main rival, but I'm not going to be surprised when she shows up with another good effort.
Yeah, I expect her to run well in here. I wonder if she's good enough to beat this field if some of the horses to her outside show up with their good race as well. But I'm not going to knock her current form. 2 for 2 with the meet now for McPeak. She did it from off the pace on a wet track 2-back. They just took advantage of the rail draw last time, put her on the lead, and really nobody challenged her all that strongly until it was too late. She's good. She can be competitive here, but I do feel like she might need a career best to come out on top.
The number 2 Wild Bout Hillary should provide the pace in this race. She is clearly the fastest through the early stages and did win gate to wire last time against Stakes Company in the Pago Hop at Fairgrounds, but that was an off the turf event over a sloppy sealed track. And Mike, I'm sure you're familiar with some of the names that finished behind her that day. They're just turf horses. And when you look at her prior scheduled dirt races, they just don't quite stack up against this field.
Yeah, not only did she have a big edge with the surface switch last time, but you won't see a horse get looser than she got on the lead in there. I mean, just unchallenged on a slow pace in there. There was no way she was going to lose.
The number 3 is Little Jamie, who has run some races that put her on the fringes of being competitive against a field like this. Stepped up against Graded Stakes Company during her 3-year-old season and outran her odds a couple times in the Indiana Oaks and the Monmouth Oaks. Tailed off a little after that, but just certainly got back on track last time in the Wayward Lass at Tampa Bay Downs, which we'll take a look at. Not the easiest trip this day, as she was legitimately 3 to 4 wide around both turns, but still was able to take over at the top of the stretch and hold on for the victory. I would say that's her best effort to date, Mike, and she's stepping up in class here, but maybe she's doing it in very good form.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I thought she ran really, really well in here, considering the trip. She actually wins this race pretty easily, all things considered. And even, I know it was only an allowance race, 2-back, David. I thought she ran really well in there with a totally different running style. She was going a legitimate pace in a big field and only really got run down by a perfect trip winner late in that race before she couldn't hold second. I don't know. I think she does come into this in good form. To me, she was the other horse. I think Love, the favorite, is going to be hard to beat in here. This was the other horse for me.
The number 4 Bow Draw is going to be a big price in this race. She has chased home Corningstone in the last 2 local stakes at this level. The Mistletoe and the Pippin last time was really no match for that rival in either one. And we already talked about how Corningstone has her own questions to answer about whether she really classes up against a graded stakes field like this. So Bow Draw is going to have her work cut out for her.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, she was 60 to 1 against Corningstone last time, and Corningstone's not the horse to beat. Yeah.
The number 5 is the very likable 6-year-old mare, Free Like a Girl, who's earned over $2 million in her career, has won almost half of her 47 starts. And this Louisiana bred Mike, she definitely knows how to outrun her odds and also run to her competition, because sometimes she'll look vulnerable competing against fellow Louisiana breds at short prices, losing some of those races, and then she'll step up against graded stakes company and run competitively with horses that look way better than her on paper. So we'll see if she's able to step up against this field. I will say she's coming out of a pretty decent group that she faced in the Houston Ladies Classic last time. I know that race was wired on the front end by a long shot recharge, but the runner-up Alpine Princess and the third place finisher Hoosier Philly would fit nicely in a race like this, and Free Like a Girl chase them home in fourth. I won't be surprised when she shows up with a good effort, but she can be a little random.
Yeah, I respect her. I like the way that you put it, though, maybe running to her competition, because you go to those wins 3 and 4 back against weaker competition, hardly impressive at 1-5 and 2-5. But she got the job done. She ran fine last time, but overall, really good trip in that race and just wasn't good enough.
And then rounding out the field is the likely favorite, the number 6, Loved, coming off probably her career best race, when she earned a 94 buyer, beating that Falls City field quite decisively last time out at Churchill Downs. As we talked about, really adapting her running style over the course of that 5-year-old campaign. They put the blinkers on 2 back, and it really relaxed her on the early stages of the Spinster. Was not interested in contesting that pace that was set by Idiomatic. And then last time sat off that pace in the Falls City, made a decisive move around the far turn to take it over and drew off convincingly against what was probably a better field than this one, Mike. And if she runs back to any of those races, she's going to be tough for this group to beat.
Yeah, just really, really well spotted here by Brendan Walsh. I imagine they're probably prepping for the Apple Blossom. And listen, she started out with a lot of potential. There was a little bit of a layoff there. Maybe took her a couple of races to work her way back, but she was really impressive, beating a better field than this one last time.
We'll throw up our picks for this grade 3 Bayakoa. Mike, I don't think we're going to get much of a price on Loved, but I also don't have much interest in trying to beat her.
Not going to try to beat her in here either. I'm probably going to play a 6-3.
It is 6-3-1-5 for Mike and 6-5-1-3 for me in race 9 at Oaklawn Park on Saturday. It is the grade 3 Bayakoa. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.